closing it out in Hong Kong this past weekend. Canadian Vicky Mboko, who, I mean, we can talk kind of big picture on what 2025 has looked like for her and this unbelievable ascent. If we talk just over the past week, you know, after her unbelievable title in Montreal, I think it would be fair to say Mboko had a bit of a slump and a bit of a rough stretch. You know, she had a 4-match losing skid at one point.
Yeah.
I think the wrist was still bothering her. But it finally all comes together in Hong Kong again. She beats Leylah Fernandez in this great semifinal match and grinds out this battle against Cristina Buxa in 3 to win her second career title, and it's coming in her rookie season. And just like that, I mean, we're talking about a top 20 player.
Yeah, it is. It is unbelievable. I don't even know how you would categorize this season. Obviously a breakout season, but it's not like it's like breakout. It's like it's go from like irrelevance on the international stage to like a star on the WTA. So really it's incredible. And yeah, like you say, after the US Open, a little bit of a slump there. But you know, right back at it. I think, you know, and that proves, like, in Japan, she beats Andreescu, then Liss, and then loses, you know, fairly close one to Rybakina, and then in Hong Kong wins the whole tournament, beating some good players, Kalinskaya, Fernandez, Buxa. So just, yeah, backing it up, proving that she's not a one-time wonder. She's I think it's pretty obvious to everyone who watches, but she's big time, I think. And yeah, next year it's like, who knows what the cards hold. She's kind of shown this year that she can literally beat anyone. So we'll see.
And we're talking about a player who, for the most part, in the front half of the year was not playing WTA events. And she started this season ranked number 333 in the world, which is, you think of this staggering ascent to number 18 in the world at this stage. I mean, I think I recall you telling me you saw her either Indian Wells or Miami, and that was, and I was with you here in. For me, the moment I noticed she is something special was her loss to Paula Badosa. And look, we can talk about maybe the fluctuation in Badosa's levels. This is a former world number 2, though, and someone who's been, you know, a decently steady top 10 player who was playing well at the time and healthy. And she marveled at Mboko's ball quality, tenacious style on the court, her ball striking just in general, and her belief. And I think those elements have really carried her forward to this unbelievable breakout season. And definitely for me, probably the newcomer of the year, I assume, when we get to the awards at the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll win that. But yeah, it was Miami, and it was just by coincidence that I was there. She was still relatively unknown, but I was, you know, of course, checking out all the Canadians. Like, I knew of her, but on the grand scheme of things, I was like, oh, who are all the Canadians that are here? And she's here, okay. And then, yeah, she beat Osorio, I believe, and I watched that match, and I was like, okay, this is great. And I started tweeting about her more, and then got to have a little interview with her, I believe, after that match, which was her first ever. It was her first main draw match and win at a WTA event, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, and yeah, like you summarized there, the style that she played in Mboko or Badosa at was truly, beyond her years, and her strength and her physicality was already so evident. And then I remember there's this Twitter heckler guy I was, you know, saying, oh, she's a big deal, like, you know, watch out. And then he's like, oh, she just beat Osorio, she's kind of up and down, like she doesn't have, you know, she's just a big serve and a big forehand. And I was like, no, dude, I'm watching her play up and down the court. Like, she'll take the approach ball and not have to try and win it on that shot, come to the net, finish it. She also defends, like she was defending half the match versus Badosa, who has power. And she can slide into her shots on her forehand and backhand. Like, she's a modern player, and she's strong all around the court. So she's got the type of like modern WTA game that you need to be, like, obviously be successful, because she has been. So it's not a question anymore. Yeah.
No, it's not a question anymore. And now, I mean, I think we've said this all along, but obviously, when we go into 2026, sky is the limit. Clearly, we didn't get to see her at the Australian Open because she was not even eligible to play qualifying last year.
Right.
She's going to be seeded at the Australian Open. For me, she's an all-court player. We've seen her have great success on clay as well. Going through Wimbledon as well as a lucky loser and getting a victory there and getting to the second round. I think this is someone we're going to be talking about as one of those Grand Slam threats for 2026. I don't know if you're saying, and when I say that, I don't say necessarily threatening to win the title, but just one of those names that you're going to be looking at. What section of a draw is she in? Because she's going to be challenging for the second week with her game.
Yes, and I think the Australian Open court will be interesting to see her on, because it's kind of like the slipperiest, quickest Grand Slam court, I think, usually. So that'll be great to see her powerful game on. And just she'll come into that year, like, imagine the difference coming into the 2 years. You come into 2025, you're like, maybe this is another year on the Futures Tour. Maybe I'll start playing like WTA 125s. Now you're like, maybe I'll win a Grand Slam. Maybe I'll, I'm a top 20 seeded player. Like, people don't want to be in my quarter. Like, it's just, it's got to be a whirlwind still for her.
I think it is. She's taken it in stride. And you look at, I think back to some of her wins in Montreal, particularly that match against Elena Rybakina, who is now competing in the WTA finals. You mentioned seeing it live, how well she defends corner to corner. Rybakina was throwing the kitchen sink at her in that semifinal match in Montreal, and she was defending brilliantly. And the parallel here is, this title in Hong Kong, that match against Buxa, that was our longest final of 2025, 2 hours, 49 minutes. So obviously she is not only an aggressive style player, but she's capable of defensive skills and grinding and, using her physicality to get out some of these matches.
Yeah, no, that's the great summary of her. She is physical, and maybe that comes from being the younger sibling of, I think, 2 older brothers. Is that right?
I believe so.
Yeah, just having to rough and tumble all the time. And she's like, one of the bigger girls on tour too, as far as like height. Like, I think she's pretty tall compared to most of the women, and 5'10" and strong. So it's that pays dividends definitely when you're going long term in a match versus someone like Buxa. Obviously, Buxa's a little more slight, probably has good power, but it doesn't have probably the strength that Mboko does. So, super interesting to have her. Our women's side of the game and our men's, but our women's side is, it's almost like, I call it I think we've had a bit of a revival here, right? We got her, we got Andreescu still trying to come back, but we got Fernandez, we got Brandstein, Marino. Who am I missing?
Cadence Brace now in the top 200.
I
think you make a good point. It's sort of, I feel like our women's game for Canadian tennis is kind of in flux, because we have Layla, who's established, and you always feel like no matter her quality of year, she seems to generally settle into that 20 to 30 range. Even if she starts a little slow, she tends to finish strong, and she's picked up her level a little bit. Obviously, had a big time title in Washington. She's had some results. Bianca needs time to get back, and we'll see if she can do that. But now, as you say, new faces are emerging. Mboko, of course, the freshest face, being 19 years old and in the top 20. But Cadence Brace, who we just spoke to on this podcast, is now top 200. Carson Brandstein, who had that miraculous run, and is now, to me, soon, I think, going to be in that top 100 conversation. There's a little bit more depth for the women's side in Canadian tennis.
For sure, and that's a good group of players there to base our success off. And it's almost like that when we had Felix and Dennis at like young, and Bianca just won the U.S. Open. We're like, Canadian tennis, like, and it's not even our fault. It's not anyone's fault. You just get like your head over your skis, where you're like, we are going to be winning multiple majors every year soon. Here, we are going to be the dominant tennis nation. It's like nothing in life is that easy. So I feel like they all have had to have a bit of a reset, and and they're still young. Like, that's the craziest thing. Like, how old is Felix, right? Like, is he 24?
25?
25, yeah. So easily could have 10 more years on tour. So, I like the spot we're in Canadian tennis. And Mboko is like our brightest star right now.
Thank you guys so much for watching us at Matchpoint Canada. If you like our work, follow along, hit the subscribe button below.